Hola, buenas tardes. Yo me llamo Señor Balas y en este video voy a explicar cómo usar el subjuntivo con expresiones impersonales. I'm going to explain how to use the subjunctive with impersonal expressions. If you're wondering, what the heck is the subjunctive? Well, it's something that does not exist in English. In English, we could say, for example, it's good that you do your homework. That would be an instance in Spanish when you use the subjunctive. There has to be a complete change of the verb, the you do your homework part. You have to change the verb completely differently than you normally would do it. In my opinion, the subjunctive, the formation of it is really easy. The hard part is going to come when your teacher starts requiring you to tell a difference between the subjunctive and the indicative. The indicative is basically anything that's not the subjunctive, like the present tense, yo hablo, that's the indicative. The subjunctive is different. Right now, what I'm going to do is show you how to form the subjunctive and how to do it with these impersonal expressions. I'm probably going to have several videos with the subjunctive in the future and all the different instances when you use it. For now, I'm going to make this not too difficult and just let you know that you're going to use this subjunctive form of the verb when you have an impersonal expression like the ones I'm going to give you. So first what I think I'll do is I'll give you the 12 impersonal expressions that I have. There's a lot more than that, but I'll just give you 12. And then I'll show you how to form the subjunctive, and then I'll give you a chance to practice it. So the 12 impersonal expressions are es bueno que, es importante que, es lógico que, es malo que, es mejor que, es peligroso que, es probable que, es raro que, es ridículo que, es triste que, es una lástima que. So when you use these impersonal expressions, what comes after the que, you're going to put into the subjunctive. To form the subjunctive is really simple. If you have learned, and if you're in my class you have, if you've learned how to do usted or ustedes commands, you learn the idea of what I always call it making the verb go to the opposite ending. You're going to do the same thing here, but instead of just putting it in the usted form or ustedes form, you're going to do it across the board. So for example, if I wanted to put hablar into the subjunctive for me, it would be hable. For you, it would be hables. Hable for him or her, hablemos for nosotros, habléis for vosotros, and hablen for ellos. Careful with pronunciation on these because hable, the yo form of hablar in the subjunctive, is different than hable, the preterite yo form of hablar in the I spoke. So careful with pronunciation. So when you're doing this, just really think opposites. There are a lot of irregular verbs in the subjunctive. I'm going to try and stick with mostly regulars. So think opposites. With comer, an ER verb, we're going to go opposites. So I'm going to give you the chart right here for the subjunctive. It would be coma, comas, coma, comamos, comais, coman. I already gave you hablar, and we'll give you an IR verb vivir, viva, vivas, viva, vivamos, vivais, vivan. So if you have one of these impersonal expressions, those 12 that I gave you, what comes after the K is an AR, ER, IR verb. Think opposites, and then conjugate it to its opposite form, like I just showed you. One irregularity that I'm going to show you now, there'll be more later, but for now I'm just going to show you the irregularity of car, gar, zar verbs. You've learned this before with commands, you've learned them before with the preterite, that they have a weird change in them, so this should not be new to you if you're in my class. So a car verb, for example, would be sakar. If you remember in the preterite, the yo form went to sake. It changed the C to QU so that you could maintain the k sound of sakar. You're going to do the same thing, but for every single form in the subjunctive. So the conjugation of sakar for the subjunctive would be sake, sakes, sake, sakemos, sakes, saken. And again, careful with the pronunciation because sake is different from sake. For the zar verbs, we'll look at maybe empezar. Now we'll do cazar. Cazar means to hunt with the Z there. In the preterite, you learned that the Z changes to a C. Same thing, but we're going to use it for all forms here. So case, cases, case, casemos, cases, and casen. And then with the gar verbs, GAR verbs, we'll look at pagar. In the preterite, you learned you had to stick a U in there to keep the G sound, so the subjunctive of pagar would be page, pages, page, pagemos, pages, and pagen. So I'm going to reiterate one more time. If you have an impersonal expression that I gave you, one of those 12, and you have the verb that comes after the K, you put into the subjunctive, the opposite form. Again, if this seems weird to you, that's because this doesn't exist in English, the idea of changing the verb like this. So if it's weird, that's fine. The formation of it is really easy, I think. So for now, you're just learning these impersonal expressions. Just know that if you have one, the verb that comes after it goes to the whole opposite idea. So I'm just going to give you a couple examples, and I'll give you a chance to practice. So if I wanted to say, maybe, for example, it's good that you study. I could say, es bueno que tú, and then estudiar, an AR verb, would go opposite, tú estudies. If I wanted to change it, say it's good that we study, es bueno que nosotros estudiemos. Notice the E, MOS on an AR verb because it goes opposite. Maybe it's bad that you visit your friend. Es malo que tú visites tu amigo. Or maybe it's bad that your friend visits you. Es malo que tu amigo te visite. Notice the E on an AR verb. So I'm going to give you up here on the screen 10 impersonal expressions like es bueno que, and I'm going to give you a verb, and well, just fill in the blank. Conjugate the verb in the subjunctive, fill in the blank, and we'll come back, I'll give you the answers. Here they come. All right, so now that you've had a chance to write down your answers, let's check them. Para número uno, vamos a tener, es necesario que yo hable español. Para número dos, es malo que tú no estudies. Para número tres, es una lástima que ella coma chicharrones. 4. Es bueno que nosotros saquemos una buena nota. 5. Es mejor que ellos jueguen al tenis. 6. Es posible que yo empiece a estudiar. 7. Es ridículo que tú vivas en México. 8. Es peligroso que ella nade con tiburones. 9. Es triste que nosotros no visitemos al doctor. Y 10. Es raro que ellos preparen la tarea en el baño. Now, there's a couple in there that I threw just to trick you, see if you maybe had to think about it for a second. Numbers 6 and what was the other one? Comer, sacar, jugar. 5 and 6. They were both jugar and empezar. They fall into the category of the cargar-zar verbs, so hopefully you got that part right. Maybe you noticed also that these are boot verbs normally in the present tense, so maybe you got you thinking. Yes, you have to do the boot change for an AR verb in all of the forms except for the nosotros. The whole idea of the boot still survives in the subjunctive with AR boot verbs. So you got to keep that change there. So the conjugation of jugar in the subjunctive would be juegue, juegues, juegue, juguemos, and jueguen. And then for empezar in the subjunctive would be empiece, empieces, empiece, empecemos, empiecen. And I know it's more information you don't need right now, but just to throw it out to you. If you have a boot verb that is also an IR verb, they're just a little bit trickier. IR verbs, maybe you remember, you probably don't, but there's sandal verbs in the preterite. For example, the verb servir is an IR verb. It's also a boot verb. It goes to, in the present tense, the E changes to an I in those 4 places in the boot. In the past tense, the preterite, it's a sandal verb where the E changes to an I. That E to I change also takes place in the nosotros form and the vosotros form of the subjunctive. So the conjugation of servir in the subjunctive would be sirva, sirvas, sirva, sirvamos, sirvais, and sirvan. I'm going to give you one more just to show it to you because it's just a little bit different. Preferir in the present tense is a boot verb, E to IE. In the preterite, it's a sandal verb where the E changes to I. So that E to I change is going to exist in the subjunctive in the nosotros form and the vosotros form. So the conjugation of preferir in the subjunctive would be prefiera, prefieras, prefiera, prefieramos, prefierais, and prefieran. If those are too complicated for now, it's fine. If you're in my class, we're not doing those ones yet. I just thought I'd give you extra information if you wanted it. If this doesn't make sense yet, maybe go back, watch it again. If it still doesn't make sense, maybe send me a message or something like that. Maybe I can give you further explanation. There'll be more videos to come on the subjunctive because it becomes very complicated in the future. Thanks for watching.